What's going on, everybody? Bryan Power back with you for your weekend edition of the Power 5 on a red-hot 10-5 run this week in all sports. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. But first on the agenda, I'll be sharing my thoughts on the opening lines for Saturday's biggest college basketball games and how they've moved so far this morning. I've got one conference tournament selected for our Sell High, Buy Low segment. Stay tuned for that. Our key stat this week is dealing with which team will win the national championship. There's only a select few that can. Find out why just a moment. And finally, we'll cap it off with a free play for Saturday as well. So let's take a look here at the WagerTalk.com live odds screen, see how the market is moving first and foremost. First game that catches my eye, Arkansas taking money at Alabama. I know Alabama's been in poor form recently, but I would not want to back the Hogs on the road, that's for sure. Cincinnati laying 11 to WVU seems like a lot of points, but at the same time, West Virginia outside of Morgantown, dicey situation there. Creighton is a short favorite at Villanova. I was very interested to see if odds makers would open Nova as the favorite there. They obviously have not. Villanova's actually taken a little bit, Creighton has taken a little bit of money, moving from 1 to 1.5. We do have an unranked home favorite. We actually have two on today's slate. The first is Mississippi State down in Starkville. They're hosting South Carolina. South Carolina in the top 25, so this is the first of two unranked home teams laying points to a top 25 opponent. Mississippi State has taken money, moving from 4.5 to 5 in what is a revenge spot for the Bulldogs, losers of 3 in a row. Continuing down the list, our other unranked home favorite today, taking on a top 25 team, is Texas Tech. There's been little to no line movement there. The Red Raiders are -2 against Baylor. Baylor coming off a couple big wins, beat Kansas last weekend, came from behind to beat Texas earlier this week. How about the big one in Cameron Indoor, North Carolina and Duke? Duke has moved from 4.5 to 5. They have revenge in that one. UConn's got nothing to play for, but bettors are taking them anyway at Providence. That number is up to 10. In the Mountain West, Utah State has gone from 3 to 3.5 against New Mexico. Here's a bit of interesting reverse line movement. USC, who is definitely getting better as the season continues on, they're taking money as a home dog against Arizona. Arizona does not have anything to play for due to the events of earlier this week. They've got the Pac-12 all wrapped up. What about the conference tournaments? There's a couple that have caught my eye. Wagner, remember we won with Wagner earlier this week? Well, the Seahawks are plus 6.5 against top seed Central Connecticut. Central Connecticut, that line has moved from 6 to 6.5, but be aware of this. The two regular season meetings between these teams, both won by top seed Central Connecticut State, were only decided by 1 point. Bryant has taken money. They're up to 6. They opened -4. And then how about the Ohio Valley Conference Championship game? I'll throw this one in for you before we move to the next section. Morehead State already up to 3 in most spots after opening 2 against Little Rock. All right, for Sell High and Buy Low, we're going to focus on one conference tournament, and that is the Big Sky, which gets underway Saturday in Boise, Idaho. The odds are really stacked against the bottom 4 teams in this event who would have to win 4 games in 4 days. So throw all of them out. They've got no chance of cutting down the nets in this one. But for Sell High, we're going to actually focus on the top seed, and that's Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington currently listed plus 200 to win the tournament. Now, the Eagles come in flying pretty high, pardon the pun. They've gone 17-3 straight up since Christmas. However, I worry a little bit about a team that had a losing record away from home this season. Not a great defensive team either. 258th in adjusted efficiency at that end of the floor per KenPom. And on offense, Eagles were actually second worst in turnover percentage in the Big Sky. While they won the Big Sky by 3 games, a couple shaky efforts late in the last 2 regular season games, and advanced metrics indicate this should have been a tighter conference race. So I'm selling on Eastern Washington as the winner of the Big Sky tournament. If we're selling on them, who do we buy to win this tournament? How about Weber State, who is the preseason favorite? They are the 4th seed. They handed Eastern Washington its only home loss of the season. Weber State has the best player in the conference, junior guard Dylan Jones. They also have the top defensive rating in the conference. Early in the season, this is a team that won at St. Mary's, guys. I am taking Weber State plus 300 to win the Big Sky tournament. If you were wondering, Weber State and Eastern Washington would meet in the tourney semifinals. Now, if you've got a conference tourney winner you'd like to share, go ahead and do so in the comments section below. Of course, earlier in the week on the Power 5, I gave out 5 conference tourney winners, all at plus money. Fingers crossed on Stetson. Fingers crossed on Morehead State tonight. We can get 2 of those to come through. We're already dead in the Horizon League, but the other 4, we're still alive. Also, if you like what you're hearing here, go ahead and smash that like button down below. We always greatly appreciate your support. Here's your stat of the week, and I mentioned at the open that this is going to be about who's going to win the national championship in April. That's obviously a big talking point this time of year. I mentioned this stat on a recent video I recorded with Kelly Stewart talking about March Madness betting strategies. History says that the national champion is going to be one of the following teams: Houston, UConn, Purdue, Arizona, Tennessee, Auburn, Duke, Creighton, or Marquette. Why just those 9 teams? Because those are the only 9 currently in the top 25 at KenPom for both adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency since 1999, which is as far back as the KenPom ratings go. Every national champion but one, that oddball 2014 UConn team, of course, finished top 25 in those 2 metrics. So keep an eye on those KenPom ratings moving forward, because if you don't rank in the top 25 in both adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency, chances are you're not cutting the nets, you're not winning the natty. Okay, before we get to the power play of the week, I've got to let you know about a great deal we've got going on right now at WagerTalk.com. Earlier I mentioned a 10-5 all sports run this week. That's the last 5 days, going back to Monday. I'm also number 1 in NBA the last 7 days, the last 30 days, hitting 60% for the season in NBA, including a 19-8 and 1 run, 1 push in there, 6-1 last 7, perfect 3-0 the last 2 days. College, it's been a little dicey over the last 2 weeks. I own it, but last March I was number 3 with all college hoops in WagerTalk. So go ahead. Use coupon code POWER25, that's POWER25, to get an instant 25% savings off any of my all-access packages from 1 day to a full year. Just head on over to WT.buzz/BP and use that coupon code POWER25 at checkout. You get your instant 25% savings right away. You'll be all set from there. Now, back to the Saturday college basketball slate. Here's your power play of the week. One more time, we are going to fade, or attempt to fade, this fraudulent South Carolina team. I mentioned earlier, they are a top 25 team getting points on the road at Mississippi State. Unranked home favorites have won 70% of these games over the last 2 seasons. My power rating suggests Mississippi State is very much a justified favorite in this instance. I would lay it up to 6. It's a revenge spot. They lost in Columbia, 68-62 back on January 6th. It is senior night in Starkville. All 5 seniors being honored here. It's actually senior day, I suppose you could say. This is a 2:30 Eastern time tip. The Gamecocks, look, tip your cap to the job they've done. What a surprise. This is a team that was 11-21 last year, including 4-14 in SEC play. But they lost at home to Tennessee earlier in the week. And I think the writing is on the wall for the Gamecocks here. I know that they're trying to get a top 4 spot in the upcoming SEC tournament. I don't see it happening. Mississippi State covers the spread Saturday afternoon in that particular SEC matchup. And that does it for the weekend edition of the Power 5. Hope you enjoyed it. If you already haven't done so, make sure you are subscribed to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. That way you are instantly alerted to all of our exclusive sports betting content. You can also follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Bryan Power _wins. Massive Saturday card on the docket today. I'll have at least 5 plays in college basketball. So until next time, let's cash some tickets.